think there might be something wrong with me. Now let me explain that just a little bit further. I've been reading a lot more than normal. And this is a little uncommon for me, especially to be reading fiction. Yeah, fiction. I always get them confused. I gotta think fiction, fake. But regardless, I just finished Ernest Cline's second book, Armada. It was pretty good. It wasn't like Ready Player One. For me, it started off just a little bit slow. It took a little bit of time to get into it. There wasn't enough battles, if you want to say. But when it did get to the battle, I mean, it got fun really good towards the last 150 pages or so. I mean, that's essentially the end of the book. But it was pretty satisfying. It left me wanting more in the sense that I was looking for another book to read. So they mentioned Ender's Game in that book, so I started reading that on the Kindle. But the problem is we borrowed it from the library, like before I was done with Armada, so I was just kind of reading it a little bit just to see if I wanted to get into it, to see if I wanted to actually buy the book and get into the series, because I want to get into a series of books, so I'm not just limited to one book and then going, oh, I really like that style of writing, or I really like that story and character, but there's nothing further to read. So with my search of trying to find a series of books, they mentioned Ender's Game. I looked that up, and there's like 15 different books. There's all these different parallel stories and trilogies and stuff with that, and I'm just getting confused on which books I should read first, and then if you finish this series of books, should you go ahead and read this series that's a parallel to the events that are going on in this book. And upon my search of Ender's Game and trying to figure that stuff out, I mean, I did read as much as I could before it expired. There's only one digital copy for the library, which is kind of weird. But just the same, I read as much as I could before it expired, couldn't renew it, somebody else is reading it, fine, whatever. I don't know if they have a hard copy at the library or not, but either way, I'm still trying to figure out and find on eBay if there's an auction that has the complete series. And like I said, trying to figure out which, regardless, I found another book to read. Or another series of books. It's 3 books as far as I know. It's called The Fifth Wave. I guess it's already been made into a movie. The reason I knew that was because on the book, it had one of those little gold circles and it said, now a major motion picture. So it's like, oh, well, you know what? I did not see that movie yet. I don't even recall seeing a trailer. Maybe it's not out yet. It kind of looks like it's out. The trailer looks great for the movie, so I want to read the book before I see the movie, and I kind of want to do this before I have surgery, so the timetable, it's really shrunken. But regardless, there's 3 books in that series. I started reading the digital sample from the library, just finished that, but then again, there's no copies available digitally for the library. So now, that's 2 books I started that I can't finish because there's no copies available. So I either try to find a copy somewhere, or I buy a copy on eBay or something like that, or at the very least Amazon full price, which I really don't want to do. I like having paper copies, but you know what? Starting to read on this Amazon thing, I never liked it before, but I kind of like it now. You can dim it down so it's really easy. You can read at night in the dark, so that if you fall asleep, you don't have to shut lights off or anything. I mean, I'm lazy, so that's a plus. But just the same, if I'm gonna read it on this, it's gonna be free. I don't want to pay for it. And if I'm gonna read a book, an actual paper book, which I like doing, I'd rather own the copies, not necessarily borrow them. But I want to do all this. Well, I want to read. I want to read. That's the crazy part for me. I don't read, but I'm like, I finished this book, and I'm like, I want more. I want to keep reading something else. I want to read something else. So now I'm like, I want to get these books lined up and ready to read so that I can read them, especially with surgery coming. I need more. Don't get me wrong, I like the Maze Runner, the movie. I saw the movie not knowing anything about it, and I'm like, oh, this is like a cool concept, a cool movie. Scorched Trials, I didn't like that much. It kind of left me with more questions than anything else. I thought, well, maybe I should read the Maze Runner series. We went to the library, and I gave the book to Steven, and I said, just start reading this, see if you want to read it, see if it's in a tone that you want to read, in words that it's easy for you to read. And he started reading it, and he said, oh yeah, this sounds great. So, I bought the books on eBay, 4 books, like $12. How can you go wrong with that? So this way I can read them, he can read them, we don't have to worry about returning them and all that stuff. It's on our timetable and such. So that's cool. I got that to look forward to. But those are gonna come in after surgery, after I'm in the hospital for a few days. I want something to read now. I want something to read while I'm in the hospital, and furthermore after. So I don't know what my point is. Can I get these books, this fifth wave and the other 2 sequels or whatever, to complete this trilogy before I go for surgery? I don't know. I'm gonna keep looking. But I just wanted to reference that stuff because now I want to see the movie and I want to read the book first because I already got... The fifth wave is more like post-apocalyptic, almost like, it makes me feel like it's a zombie type scenario where you're nothing works, there's no power, you're scavenging for food and supplies and materials, you're keeping to the shadows, you don't know who to trust. But it's not zombie at all, it's aliens. And it's like the aliens have taken over some human form, or they've invaded people's bodies. So you don't know who's an alien, you don't know who's a real person, you don't know who to trust. You're skittish from everybody. You can't band together and fight because you don't know who's among you. That's a cool concept. I like it. And it's from, again, a young adult's perspective, which I kind of like. It relates back to the movies and stuff when I was a child that I watched in the 80s, like Goonies and stuff. Kids, the age I was when I was then, going on adventures. So it's kind of, I mean, I'm not a teenager anymore. Physically, I'm not. Mentally, maybe. But just the same, it's a nice story, and I already got drawn into it. And it's like, bam, been cut off. The power's been taken away from me, and I can't read it or watch, or I gotta figure out. I'm reading. I think I'm crazy. I think there's something wrong with me. It's a good thing, trust me. But it's kind of weird to me to be like, I just read 2 books and I want to read another one and another one. It's not usual for me. Anyways, furthermore, because Ender's Game was written in like 1977, I went up in the attic, tried to look through some old books. There's a lot of my mom's old books up there, but I thought maybe my dad has some old books up there. I found some Star Trek books, but I'm like, oh, maybe he read a couple Star Trek books and he wanted something more and he read Ender's Game. I did not see it up there, unfortunately. It would have been cool to be like, oh, here's an original copy. That was my dad's that I can read now. But it's not the case. Anyways, I also got TMNT, that Hyperstone Heist, but I bought a knockoff version, a re-released, remastered. It's a fake copy of it, but I don't care. You could still play it. But there's kind of a problem. For one, it's kind of funny that the label's upside down, and I cannot fit this thing into the Sega Genesis. It does not fit. It goes in crooked, it won't go in straight. And then I heard something rattling around inside there. The stupid thing popped open. Part of the circuit board is broken. The part that like holds... Hold on. Oh my goodness. Okay. Give me a second. Part of the circuit board broke that actually holds the circuit board in the case. And this is the only way, this is a game, but this is the only way I can put the game in the Sega to play it. That's not cool. I'm gonna contact them on eBay and see what they say. This came from like China or Hong Kong or something like that. So I didn't expect much, but it was actually cheaper than trying to buy the original, which was going for an insane amount of money. I mean like $44 and up to $150. I wasn't gonna pay that much for this game. But it's a fun game nonetheless. And yes, the sofa I took apart, it's sitting in my garage inside a wheelbarrow right now because I'm gonna go through it and see what wood I can use, which is gonna be very minimal at the very least. Most of it I'm probably just gonna cut up and throw in the garbage can. And like I said, it would have been easier just to put it at the curb instead of going through all this other work. But I did get fabric out of it, and the back cushions I have, the kids can, they were jumping around on it today. They could use it as a fort, whatever they want. But still, it was kind of a waste of my time to do it, and especially since I'm probably never going to do anything with the fabric, but you never know, I might. I might make a satchel out of it. Who knows? Halloween costume? I don't know. A duvet cover? I don't even know what a duvet cover is. No, I do. Regardless. But you know what I reminded of and what I feel like? You remember the Neverending Story when the kid was like reading that book and he was up in the school attic or something reading the book and it was thundering and lightning out and he was so immersed in the book and the story started to become real. That's what I feel like right now. Not that everything's becoming real, but I'm like immersed in these books and I'm having fun doing it. It's different for me is what it is. In case you haven't noticed, I've been hurting a lot more lately. Pain's been going down my left leg like crazy. My left foot is even worse than it was before. The pain in my leg and the pain in my back, it's really keeping me from doing any big projects, which I mean is okay because I kind of was expecting the worst of the worst to start coming now, but it's fine because I got most of everything I needed to get done. Although I just noticed I have to bring in the garden hose, which seems stupid, but the length of garden hose that I have out there, it's heavy. So I need to bring that in now before I'm unable to lift 5 pounds. I bet you thought I was leaving, but I'm not. I'm still here. I've been reading like crazy. Thank goodness for my wife. She went to the library and got me 2 books, The Fifth Wave, but there's 2 more after this that I have to read first. And she also got me Ender's Game. Books for free. Who knew? Look at this thing. It's like 450 pages. I'm not a reader, but I haven't been able to put this thing down, and I'm on like page 127. I want to read this like crazy because I want to watch the movie, but my wife told me that we already rented the movie and that we already watched it. I watched a preview today. I don't remember the movie whatsoever. I'm reading this book, and I don't remember the movie whatsoever. Ender's Game. I know I saw that movie, and I remember bits and pieces of it. Reading the book, I only got like 30 pages into it. I don't remember anything either. But just the same, this book, I can't imagine me watching it and not remembering it all. That is very weird. But either way, I need to finish this as soon as possible so I can watch the movie and then start the other books in the series. That's my goal. So I'm getting back to it. I don't know. Do the same. It's cool. We'll talk maybe. I don't want this to be a bunch of book review videos, but this is literally so far like I said, a zombie apocalypse without the zombies. It's aliens and it's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers mixed. It's interesting. It sounds like a good movie too. I don't think I watched it. I'm back. My son just heard me wrapping up this vlog and he's like, Dad, I remember The Fifth Wave. I remember watching the movie. And I'm like, you didn't watch the movie because it was like 2 years ago. You know, I mean, and then he proceeds to tell me details about it. And it's like, okay, where was I? You guys would not have watched, they would not have watched this movie without me. Was I sleeping? Did I fall asleep? I mean, it was probably at the height of my pain level at the time, that many years ago. But how do I not remember this? It's dry. I started this vlog by saying I think there's something wrong with me. I'm ending this vlog saying I think there's something else wrong with me. But to go ahead and play it like this is absolutely ridiculous. Not functional.